Now, I'm kind of a geek about how movies are made, so I've always wanted to like go on a set and see a film get shot. So, like, curious with the character in the film that Ryan plays, did you guys actually create like a fake Facebook for his character, and did you have to like get licensing from Facebook in order to do that?
We did early on create a fake Facebook for Michael, and I actually kind of forgot that existed. So I should probably go and wrap that up or use it somehow. But we did that early on because the film was actually originally titled Death by Facebook.
Right.
And then as we got closer to production and looked into the legality of using Facebook, based on what our attorneys advised, we decided it was smarter and more legal probably to be a little bit more vague about which social platforms the film is referring to, because in all honesty, Michael does post his fake death to a lot of the social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook. There's Foursquare jokes in there, and we didn't want to single out Facebook too much and be too black and white about it. So it ended up working out.
Yeah,
well to not focus on logos and not make it really just pointing the finger only at Facebook.
The trailers definitely have like a Facebook feel to them, like with the blue and the way it looks in the trailers for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Facebook's massive. I mean, the monthly user, I think, user base or the number of monthly active users, I should say, for Facebook is over 1 billion. I think it's 1.2 or 1.3 billion.
Right.
And that's more. I mean, if you look at the numbers, Twitter's number of users is vastly lower than that. So, I mean, when you just look at how widespread Facebook use is, it's really hard to say, well, we're just going to minimize Facebook and put it on par with all the other platforms because it's just too much of a behemoth,
Right. That's interesting.
That accounts for why that's the dominant sort of feel of a lot of the look of the trailer and, parts of the film.
Now, I'm just curious when this was shot, because I know Ryan, the lead star, was shooting. He did the Veronica Mars movie, and did you guys shoot this in between that film?
No, we actually shot this before Veronica Mars, amazingly. And, indies take a long time to wrap up and all that. But, yeah, no, we shot, I'm trying to think, I guess it was going on 2 years ago now.
Wow.
We spent about a year in post, yeah. But it's so funny because I think for the filmmakers, we are so, in touch with the film still, and it's something we've been working on intensely continuously through the whole process. And the actors, once we wrapped, and we did some ADR, I guess, but other than that, they've been pretty kind of detached from it and to an extent, and they're doing other projects, like Ryan doing Veronica Mars, and so I wonder for them, I wonder if it's kind of a surreal experience
right.
when you've done a movie and you come back after that long to promote it. So,
right.
But yeah, for us, it's just been intense all the way, but
now,
it's been cool to see Ryan do other stuff, too.
When you direct a movie and you also act in a film, like, for example, when you're in a scene in the film and, like, you're directing this movie as well, do you ever yell action and cut, like, when you're acting in a scene?
When I'm in the scene?
Yeah.
It depends on the shot, honestly. Typically, no, because that takes you out of character.
Right.
But there are certain shots where the timing is such that, when I begin the take, or, when I begin the take based on a movement or an emotion, being prepared, ready emotionally, it's sort of, it makes sense for me to somehow cue it. Now, that doesn't mean I'm actually saying action, but definitely there were takes or shots in particular that it made sense for me to sort of initiate the beginning of when the shot would start, I guess, or end. But typically it's a little weird and distracting. So, I might, just without thinking, do it on the first take and then realize, yeah, I think I'm going to call in the AD for this one because this is not working. But it is kind of a weird dynamic, actually.
Do you ever learn anything about yourself as an actor when you direct a movie, in the sense of, like, do you think, okay, I like that I do this as an actor, I dislike the fact that I do this as an actor? Like, since you're directing and you're obviously you have the entire story in your mind, like, do you figure things out about yourself as an actor that you dislike or like more?
Yeah, I mean, as the director, I'm constantly looking for the most honest takes, but then marrying that with, you know, what's the pacing of the take, and does it cut in nicely with the rest of the scene? So finding that balance is something that I'm doing as the director, and it sort of forced me to say, you know, my performance is what it is, and I know as an actor which takes I was more present in and honest in, and I want to use those, but at the same time I have to keep that vision of the entire film and the larger picture in mind. So it kind of, the directing forces you to put your ego to the side and say, yeah, okay, well, I don't really love my performance in that, but it's good enough and it serves a larger story, and that's really what my ultimate goal is. So, yeah, acting's a smaller piece of the puzzle for me.
Right, yeah, you got to look at the big picture in regards to like the overall film. Now, when you have an R-rated movie, do you initially shoot it knowing you're getting an R rating, in the sense of, I mean, obviously the language in the script and the way the words are used, you probably knew you were getting an R rating, but like, did you ever shoot PG-13 takes of the sequences just in case you wanted to release a 13 version? Do you shoot TV takes for the movie at all?
We did on a few occasions. We knew that it was going to be R, and a lot of the profanity is really specific to the characters.
Right.
And their character is very much built on the fact that Michael's a guy who swears a lot, and he's a man-child. He's juvenile. He's not this mature adult
right.
who, has modified his language to suit sort of where he's at in life. And then you see Emil, his mama's boy, sort of buddy, doesn't really swear. I don't think he swears maybe once in the film, if at all. My character swears a ton, but she's also this deeply insecure, angry woman. So it's interesting. We try to keep the profanity specific to the character and give it a reason. But we did know that it was going to be PG-13 or BR, not PG-13, and we tried to get some TV takes here and there, and we definitely did an ADR, which are kind of hilarious. So
yeah.
I hope those get, people eventually will see some of those because they're very funny.
Oh, those are great. Like when they have to make up like different words for like to cover it for the TV version.
Oh yeah.
I think one of the best ones. I think there was one like Sam Jackson did one for Snakes on a Plane. It was like that famous line about like, let me get these mother effing snakes with this mother effing plane. And I think like the TV version was like, let me get these Monday through Friday snakes off this like monkey fighting plane or something like that. I'm like, what?
Oh, that's amazing.
I think they do it like, I think they did it like badly on purpose, like, just to be funny about it.
Yeah, I think so too, because that's when we were in ADR. That's exactly what we did. We totally embraced the ridiculous rather than trying to pass off, flippin' or frickin',
Yeah.
Occasionally we did, but some of it was more fun to just be nuts about it.
Now, when you show a shot in the movie of, like, like for the sequences where he's looking at his comments and looking at how many likes he gets, how do you get people to post? Like, are those just friends of yours posting it, like, onto the page so you can make it look like a real, like a real, you know what I mean? Like, how do you get those shots?
Yeah. A lot, we did a combination of kind of, we had a graphic designer who had done some sort of templates of pages, and then we used different applications other than Facebook to do some of the actual live typing.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we were able to combine cutting with sound effects and to kind of simulate the sense that something was being posted, even though actually when you look at it, not, it's a static shot of a static image, not an actual active screen. So that's mostly what we did, and we tried to be as efficient and clever about it as we could. But there's so much to juggle. We said we got to just kind of get these templates in here, because actually trying to go on and do everything live on the screen is going to be too tough.
Yeah.
Now we shot them all back to back when we had that lens for the close up.
That's cool. Now I know a lot of movies are shot nonlinear, which is always fascinating to me, how a character or an actor has to get somewhere emotionally in a script, even if they haven't shot previous sequences beforehand. Like some people will shoot the end of a film on the first day. Now his character obviously has an arc in the movie. A lot of the characters do, obviously. Do you shoot in order, and if not, how do you get an actor to get somewhere emotionally if they haven't shot earlier sequences?
Yeah, we didn't shoot in order, sadly, but I think that's very rare anyway.
Right.
So a lot of actors are sort of prepared for it. But it's also the director's job to come in and do the work that the actor's doing, in the sense that, you know where the character's at in the arc, you know what he wants in that scene, or, why he's acting the way he's acting. And if the director knows that, and they have such a handle on the time of the journey of the script, and you can kind of guide your actors and give them, remind them, okay, you're at this place, remember this just happened, this is about to happen, this is the place you're in, and why. I mean, you have that discussion with them on the day, and then they're professionals. They very easily just kind of slip into where they're at. It's, oh yeah, that's right, okay, cool, ready to go. And actually, there was a day where I was having that conversation with James Imicus, who plays Emil, and I said, okay, right before this, Kev just punched you in the eye. You're feeling, this is sort of what's going on in your head. And I realized, wow, we got to get makeup in here because you don't have a black eye right now.
Right, the continuity.
It's hilarious. And it totally saved us. Had I not had that conversation with him, we would have probably shot the scene without the black eye and had to go, gone back and in post and had it added, I guess, and visual effects. But thank God that we spoke about it first.
Now, when you're shooting the film, because I know you edited it down to like 95 minutes or so, right? And it is the final runtime.
94,
How much footage do you shoot? And I know you mentioned like you shot it over a year and a half, 2 years ago. In regards, how do you? I can't even begin to just understand how you take a film and edit it down. Like, how many different takes of each shot do you have to go through?
Typically, we get anywhere from 3 to 5 or 6, depending, and some stuff less. I mean, a lot of our actors are these one-take wonder types where we nail it and then do some improv takes, and we're good to go. And then some of the more complex scenes, we would get more takes, particularly if there was a camera move, or the actor had to go somewhere emotionally, and if we wanted to ramp it up, to a higher level, we'd spend more time and do more takes of those. But it really depended, and we were on such a tight shooting schedule. We shot 22 days, which, considering the production value and sort of the constructed nature of a lot of the shots, that was tight, and
right.
We had to be efficient, and I had to make those tough decisions of, do I have it? Is it good enough? And is the time that we would spend getting another take worth it, or do I want to save that for later in the day when we have that really meaty scene,
Right.
So, it's a juggling act, and I had to make those decisions on the fly, but, you do what you got to do.
Now, since the film's out today on video on demand, I have to know. If I was a director, I directed a movie, I'd want to download or buy my own movie on video on demand the day it came out. Will you be one of the purchasers of your movie, on video on demand?
That's such a great question. I haven't decided. I don't know. But
You should.
Actually.
You totally should. I mean, I think that's cool.
I love that idea, and I think it's so funny too, because my first impulse is, now that you say that, I want to make sure there's no technical glitches.
Yeah.
See it, and so that is actually a great idea and something that might be on the agenda later today.
Did you go to any of the showings of your movie and kind of watch it with an audience? I always feel like, my goal in life has always been to be a filmmaker. I've always wanted to direct movies, and I always envision if I ever did, I'd like to sneak into a back of a theater and kind of watch it with an audience just to see how they react and see if they laugh at the moments I want them to laugh at. Did you ever do that in the week of the release?
The week of the release, I didn't actually sit in and watch with audiences because I had done that a lot at festivals.
Right.
Which was very telling because you realize how different audiences laugh at different moments, and
right.
It's an indicator of kind of demographic and where people are at. It was interesting, but during the theatrical run, I had seen it so many times. I mean, so many times, I cannot even tell you.
Yeah.
And I love the movie, and I still laugh at it. I can't help myself. Not so much, it's my own work, but more just our actors are so funny.
Well, Ryan's hilarious. I mean,
a lot of that improv, I'm just like, oh, that line is just golden. Thank you, Ryan, for just putting it out there, and all the actors. But
right.
Yeah, it's still really, I still love watching it. If I haven't seen it in a few weeks, I'm kind of, okay, I can come back to this fresh, even though I've seen it 100 times. But yeah, it's useful, I think, to watch it with an audience, or with multiple audiences, I should say. But at a certain point, you sort of realize, I'm just, I might go get a bite to eat and come back. I can't. I don't know. I've done it, and it's tough. You're always constantly, oh, they didn't laugh at that. What does that mean? And,
right.
It's just silly because everybody has their specific preferences with comedy.
Right.
But yeah.
Cool. One more question for you. I know Old Souls. That was a television movie, right?
IMDb is sort of weird with their options. It was actually a web series.
Web series. Okay.
Yeah, that we made to as a sort of pitching. Well, it was fun to make as a calling card for me as a director, but it was also meant to be a pitching aid to eventually pitch it to a network or some sort of outfit to do a TV show,
right?
Or a TV movie or something. So perhaps eventually, but IMDb is weird. It lists it as a. I think you're right. I think it was listed as a TV movie.
Yeah, well, I guess my question is like the difference in shooting, I guess now a web series versus a feature film, like and kind of building the arc of a character and the differences in times. Did you find it more? Is it harder or easier to direct like a shorter, like a television web series versus a feature-length film?
I would say ultimately the feature has been more challenging in the sense that it's so much more time spent in post, and there's the release and distribution process and the promotional process is a whole sort of second ball game after you actually make the film. So it's been a very long process and very fulfilling one, but that I think has made it a more challenging experience. But that being said, the web series was extremely intense for me specifically because I co-wrote it, I directed it, and produced it, and I also co-starred in it with my co-creator, and we play two actresses who are having trouble booking work in Hollywood because they have old souls, and they look so young, and so they say, screw it, let's dress up like old women, Mrs. Doubtfire style, and start auditioning for roles that Betty White would be going out for. And so we had prosthetic makeup, old age, like I said, Mrs. Doubtfire makeup on much of the shoot. And that took us about 4.5 hours to get into and about 2 hours to get out of.
Wow.
Of like an 8 to 12 hour shooting day.
Wow.
So it was so beyond intense, I can't even tell you. So coming out of that, my hesitation on shooting a feature was a lot lower than I think it would have typically been for, I guess other directors. But I'm really glad I went through that intense experience with Old Souls because it prepared me, and the feature was a lot easier in some ways because of that, the shoot anyway.